Okay, question 1 for data. We want to classify the following variables as categorical, continuous numerical, or discrete numerical. So, categorical means that they're word answers, categories like colours or something like that, whereas the other ones are both numerical. We have two types of numerical, which are one is continuous and one is discrete. Continuous means that we can measure things on a continuous scale, meaning to many, many decimal places. Things like height, weight, they can be measured to as many decimal places as you are able to do it. Whereas discrete numbers are usually whole number answers, like how many goals did you just score in basketball at lunchtime? It would be a whole number answer. Okay, you couldn't tell me you got 3.789 goals. That just wouldn't work. Okay? All right, so I'm just going to do the first couple. 1A, the number of cars per household. If I'm asking you for a number, first of all, we know it's one of the numerical ones. Is it going to be the continuous numerical or is it going to be the discrete numerical? Discrete, because you would own a whole number of cars, you wouldn't have a decimal places for that. So we're going to put in here discrete, discrete numerical. Let's try another one. B, the weights of packages sent by Australia Post on the 20th of December. The weights. Weights are also a number. Do weights have to be measured in whole numbers? No. So that will be the continuous numerical. Okay. Moving on to these really big questions that we hopefully remember from when we did these in class earlier. You'll be given some scores and we have to find the range, mode, median, mean, quartiles and interquartile range. So, first thing to do is to put it in order, even if it doesn't ask you to, which it doesn't. If you put those numbers in order, it will make it easier to do all of these things. So let's start with 1, cross that off. Then 2, cross that off. There's no 3, there's a 4. 8, 10, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, now that they're in order. Range. Can anyone remember the definition of range? Yes. No, it's not, but you're kind of got some of the right words in there, but not quite right. Tully. Yes, highest minus lowest. So the highest number is 15 minus the lowest number, which is 1. So the range is 14. Okay, mode stands for what, Toby? The most. So what happens the most in my numbers there? Nothing happens more than once. So what happens if nothing happens more than once? What do I write? Don't write 0 because then it looks like 0 is the mode. Actually write in words no mode or nothing. So I'm going to write in here no mode. Median. What is the median finding? The middle. Excellent. Now, because I put them in order, I can easily cross off from the beginning and the end. I'm just going to put marks above them so I can still see my numbers. Beginning and end, beginning and end. Now, I don't want to cross these two off because I don't have nothing left. If there is 2 numbers in the middle, we average them, which means I add them together, 8 plus 10, and divide by 2. But that is always the number that's right in between them. So that is going to be 9. The mean stands for, yeah, that's how you find it. But what is the mean? It's the average. That's what I was after. Good. To find it, yes, you are going to add up all of the scores. So in your calculator, we're going to add up 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 10 plus 13 plus 14 plus 15. So the sum of my scores is 67. Did you all get that? All right, then I divide it by 8 because there was 8 numbers. So 67 divided by 8, and normally this doesn't always work out nicely. We're going to have to go to a decimal here. So if there's only a couple of decimal places, I tend to just write them all down. So 8.375. If it's a really, really big one, you could just round to 1 or 2 decimal places. As long as you round it correctly, it doesn't matter the number of places that you keep. All right? On to the quartiles. Now, the median that I found was in between the 8 and the 10. Okay, so the 8 is on the lower side and the 10 is going to be on the upper side. So what I do is I take the 4 numbers that are on this side and I want to find the middle of those 4 numbers. So the middle would be between the 2 and the 4. So I have 2 numbers on either side. So yes, it will be 3, but let's do our little working out. It will be 2 plus 4 over 2, which does make 3 for the lower quartile. For the upper quartile, it's going to be between the 13 and the 14. So it'll be 13 plus 14 over 2, which is 13.5. The interquartile range, that's what IQR stands for. The formula for that is Q3 minus Q1, the upper quartile minus the lowest quartile. What you're doing is you're finding the range of the middle 50% of your results. This is often useful for statisticians because they don't want the outliers, the extreme high and extreme low, they don't want them to affect the results. So they just take the middle 50% and use them as their core set of data. Okay, so my numbers are 13.5 minus 3, so that makes 10.5. Okay, now there's another one there for you to do and another one there, so we're going to leave those, some more classifying data. But I wanted to do one more down the bottom here because it's the big one that has the table and we also have to draw the graph for it. Okay, so first job, organize the data into the table. So what is the lowest score that you can see in all those numbers? 2. What is the highest score? So we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the odds are, if the table is provided for you, then you're going to use every single one of those rows. Okay, so if you're missing a number or something, it probably is a bit of a clue that you've missed something and should fix it up. Now to fill in the tally, we go through and cross off the 6 and you put a tally line next to the 6. Cross off 2 3s there and put some tally lines in. So each one you cross it off and put a tally line in. Do 1 or 2 at a time. Just be careful not to miss any because it will mess up all of your results. All right, did we all get the same thing? So counting up the tally lines is what goes into the F, which stands for frequency. So I have 2 in that first one. I have 4 in the next one, 4 again, 5. No, that's not 5, that's 4. 5 is the next one. And then 2, and then 3. Okay, so now focusing on finishing the rest of the table. Fx. The F is the frequency that we just did here. X is over here for the score. We want to times them. So 2 times 2 means that number there is a 4. And in the next row, 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 4 is 20. 6 times 5 is 30. 7 times 2 is 14. 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, the last two boxes down the bottom, I need my calculator because I have to add up this symbol here, which is sigma, means you want to add up all of those numbers. 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, all those, add them up. There we go, good job. Okay, now we want to do the same thing to the fx column, add them all up. What did you do it already? 120, was it? Wow, I'll just trust you on that. 120, did you get it right? Oh, you got 120. So 4 people got 120, so that's a good sign. Maybe you missed one. All right, next, and this is going to be tricky because we've got to go over the page to do the stuff over here. We want to do the range, mode, median, mean, Q1, Q3, interquartile range, all that stuff again. So the range is the highest score minus the lowest score. Now looking at the table, my highest score was 8. My lowest score was 2. So 8 minus 2 is 6. Mode stands for most occurring. That would be the one with the highest frequency. So yes, again, that's one that happens most. So it's a coincidence that is also 6. These numbers don't usually all work out the same. Median. Now, if we're doing the median from a table, I taught you a little formula that was the position is n plus 1 over 2. N being the number of scores that you have in here, which for this one is the 24. We've got 24 numbers in this table. So if we do 24 plus 1 and divide that by 2, we get 12.5. We need to count down, and you can count down your tally lines, so that makes it easy. We want to find the 12th and the 13th, because 12.5 would be right in between that. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 are both in the same spot, which means that my median is 5. Okay, next, the mean. How do we work out the mean from my table? Yes. It's to do with the 120. There's more than just the 120. Sorry, say again? Yes. So it's that number divided by that number. So those two sums at the bottom, you do 120 divided by 24. What is that? 5 again. All right, now the quartiles. When I look at my median, the position was 12.5. So 12.5, the 0.5 means it's in between, right? There are 12 numbers lower, and there are also going to be 12 numbers higher. So if I wanted the position of my quartile, I'm going to do 12 plus 1 over 2, because there was 12 numbers on the lower end. 12 plus 1 over 2 is 6.5. Okay, now looking at my table. From the top, I'm going to find the 6 and the 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is there, and 7 is there. They're in two different numbers. What should I do? Sorry, what was it? Yes, it's right in between. You add those together and divide by 2, which will be 3.5. So you can write the answer straight down, or you can do 3 plus 4 over 2 equals 3.5. That's the lower quartile. If I want the upper quartile, I'm going to start at the bottom and count 6 and 7 places up. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 will both be in here, which means it is 6. The Q3 is 6. My interquartile range will be the 6 minus the 3.5, because that's the Q3 minus the Q1, which is 2.5. Okay, the last part is to display all that on a frequency histogram and polygon. So you might have to read out numbers for me so I don't have to keep going up and down. To get it all set up, we need to rule a line across the bottom. So if you have a ruler, you really should make sure, please, that you bring a ruler to your exam. It's still not going to let me do it, so I'm going to have to freehand. But across the bottom here, you're going to have a line across the bottom. And you're going to have a line going vertically. You're just tracing along the lines that are already there. Now, the two things that I'm sketching are the score and the frequency. Which one okay, let's start with the horizontal. On the bottom axis, should I put the score or the frequency? Score. Score was right. So the scores that we had were from 2 to 8, weren't they? All right, so across here, we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I always do an extra space because of the polygon that we're going to draw. I also always use every second space because when I draw the columns, I need to have those grid lines in there for me to use. Okay, I have to label this axis. So this is going to be, you can just put an X or you can write the word score. I don't mind. You can do both if you want to, as long as there is something on there to label that axis. Now, on the vertical axis, that means this one is going to be the frequency. So F for frequency. And our highest frequency was 5, wasn't it? All right, so I think I'm going to space this out a bit and go up by 2s again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even then I could have spread that more probably, but that's okay. Okay, so who can tell me score of 2, what was the frequency? Was 2, excellent. So draw a column that has the 2 in the center of it. So you want to start halfway, one space on the lower side of the 2, go up over and be one space on the higher side of the 2. That's your column for your histogram. 3 had a frequency of, was it 4? You guessing? Because I can't see. Is it 4? All right. So we have 4. And then 4 was 4. And 5 was 4. 6 was 5, wasn't it? 7 was, what was 7? 2. And 8 was 8 1? Was it, okay, I've gone back to look. 8 was 3. Okay, so those columns, did I do it right? Did I have the numbers right? Yeah, you did. Oh, yep, okay, sorry, the first number was a 2. All right, that one should be up there. Thank you. I was trying to do it without looking backwards, so I didn't have to scroll all the time. There we go, that's better. So that is the frequency histogram, those columns. Make sure that there is no gaps in between them. That's what we call a column graph, where they have the gap in between. This does not have those. The polygon part, so it says histogram and polygon. The polygon is a line graph that goes over the top. So you start by putting crosses or dots in the top center of each one of your columns. You also need a dot at the start, and that's why I have the extra space at the end, because it needs to come back down and finish on the x-axis as well. So you use your ruler to do a dot to dot, join, join, Join them all up. So a polygon starts at the x-axis, it goes up and does all its thing with the columns, and it should always finish back down on the x-axis. And that's it. That is a frequency histogram and polygon with labeled axes. I think that was it, because then there's another one here for you. A couple more there for you. That's it.